Now, I have explained this situation with my children and how fucked up it was, the way things went down, and the fact that lying females were behind what was going on. Even at the time when the courts found my son a child in need of assistance because of his own behalf, it was still because of what my ex Tiffany was putting him up to doing. He was 7 years old. He didn't know any of that. He had never acted that way in his life until one day at school. They were bribing him with anything and everything they could think of. No wonder he started acting the way he did about that toy. He already had one. He didn't want to share a room with his brother. He decided to throw it down the vent. And I know he did it on purpose. I heard everything he did. And I told him that because he come out and shortly after and asked me to get him a new one because he had lost the pieces. Because he even told me, he was very honest, threw them down a vent. Now, see, if he was a manipulator and a liar like that, he would have tried to have lied, but he didn't. And this few days later, he goes to school, and this is the story I get from his mother when I get home from work. That CPS is involved. They were bribing the kids at school to get information, and David started with a story. He said that his my mom and her mother died going to the store to get him this Lego set that he really wanted. He has never been taught to lie like that. He has never lied like that. That was the first time I've ever heard that. And I don't know if they made it up, if they added to it, if they pushed him to saying it. I don't know. We weren't there. And at first, I thought it was just Tiffany's mom and a couple other people just trying to stir up trouble because they were mad. And yes, people around these parts will do that just because they're mad. Yep. Imagine that. Feminist women again, trying to hit you as hard as they can hit you and laugh about it. They don't give a shit what happens to these kids. They don't give a shit that CPS sells them to foster homes that, abuse them and rent them out to people. This is insane, man. I really hope the government's happy with themselves, trying to tear apart families so they can create more revenue for themselves and so they can snatch kids and fuck their heads all up and then give them back acting like they did something great when they didn't. I didn't have a choice. They made the judge believe that he was in a child in need of assistance because of his own behalf. The judge was worried, so, you know, if I was a judge, I probably would have done the same thing with what I'm being presented. Safe, not sorry. I know the parents didn't do this, but it does seem like the child needs, something because of how he's acting. Even though they were the ones that made him act up like that. And I know for a fact it had to be his mom that taught him how to lie like that. I'm the one who got him home. I'm the one who did all the work. I'm the one who got all the money. I'm the one who made sure we did fucking everything we needed to do. It was not her at all. Not even a little bit. Of course, none of that matters. Once I see how he was acting when he got back here, that's what made Tiffany actually leave here because because we were broke up because she was caught messing with her best friend's husband. And I've already stated what that is. Apparently, they were swingers, and they were doing this the whole time behind my back. The whole time we knew this, and I never knew that. But anyway, I broke up with her 2017 February 27th, and she played that feminist bullshit. You know, trying to love bomb me and tell me, oh, well, I'm not leaving. We can work on it. You know, we've been through harder things. The harder things that we've been through was all you're doing. I didn't do shit but go to work, take care of my kids, cater to you, and try to figure out what the fuck was going on. That's it. That's all I did. I had Nerf battles with the community. I mean, we played with everybody. I have ADHD. I had fun with my children. In the dark tag, dance parties because the kids love music. And a lot of times that was a good way to get their energy out and let them do something. My kids repeatedly say that they are not scared of me at all. They always say that they are scared of their mother. I have that on multiple videos. I even have my son admitting to the fact that he has it in his head now that he wants to hurt his siblings. Well, you said it was his mother. Yes, this is why she would not send him back. This is why she left and went to another place that had threatened to hurt these children, which was her mother. Openly threatened my children. Did CPS know about that? Yes, they did. Her mother even tried to get custody of our son, David, and she was found unfit. They were actually going to entertain it, even though all the stuff we had told them about this woman. And she was one of the ones causing problems. And why was she doing that? Because she knew that we were going through other problems because of another person. Once again, another person escaping the consequences of their actions, trying to put what they did on me. I was told by a master that if I take my daughter away from a drug dealer, because these people lied in court and said that she had a bond with this person when she did not. She didn't even know her. The master tried to tell me that if I didn't let Jasmine visit with this chick Sam, that he was going to get me for mental injury. And I said, well, you can do whatever you feel is necessary because my daughter is not hanging out with a drug addict that she was just, or a drug dealer that she was just sold to. And he said, excuse me? And you think that they're going to admit to that in court? No. My only regret with Jazzy's situation is not handling it the way I should have. I wasn't a cop caller. I didn't call the cops on every little thing they did. Why? Because they would lie their fucking asses off. I came home, caught my cousin in my house was very calm with Tiffany, told her, you know what, I'm just done. I'm going to pack my things and I'm going to roll. Just as calmly as I'm saying it now. Tiffany sat on a couch with the most pissed off look on her face, talking about how she was going to hurt herself and all this other stuff and blah, blah, blah. And I told her she needed to calm down and I think she needed some time to herself. And I even asked her, I said, do you mind if I take the kids with me or do you want them to stay with you? And she said she wanted them to stay. And that's when my son David clung to my leg and said, no, Dad, I'm going with you. My daughter Kirsten did the same thing. When they did that, Tiffany got pissed off and said, just take them. So I did. She knew exactly where we were and that we were just going to a cousin's birthday party, which is something she tried to alienate us from a lot. Yeah, that way I would never have witnesses to what she was doing. Yeah, she comes from a family that does nothing but use men. That's I witnessed her mom doing it. Tiffany knew her mom was doing it. She was taking advantage of an old Vietnam vet. Even got in a fight with the people that this guy left his house to, trying to say that he left it to her and all after he passed, even though she didn't want anything to do with this man. She was only around him when he got paid, and then she would strum up an argument and kick him out after she got all his money. I mean, literally. Not even an hour after she drained him of his money, she would kick him out. Yeah. Always threatening to call the cops and all this. And every time I was there when these encounters happened, this man was not being aggressive. He didn't do anything wrong. And he'd just laugh at her and say, whatever, I'm leaving. And then when he'd go to walk out the door, she'd strike up another argument. Well, the guy's got a lot going on, I mean, he is a vet. He's been through a lot. And yeah, I'm pretty sure that's pretty traumatizing. So I'm pretty sure she knows what buttons to hit to get him mad because she knew what to hit. But he never abused her, never yelled at her, nothing. But yep, she would do that to him every month, like clockwork. Tiffany's dad, she talked him into selling drugs, then called the cops and got him busted and put in jail for 10 years. Yep, all because she was cheating with his best friend. Well, shouldn't that have been a sign? It was a sign. When I when I first met Tiffany, she tried everything she could to date me, and I told her multiple times, "No, you do not have a chance. Leave me alone." Do you think she listened to that? No. I was accused of cheating with this girl, and maybe I shouldn't have dated her after I was accused of that, but I did afterwards, and it was because that girl wouldn't leave me alone, and I just thought, look, man, she ain't gonna leave me alone. I've told this girl no. Even the night that we had our talk, she was told no again. She put her face in her hands and acted like she was crying. At the time, I believed it was real. We were in the middle of a Walmart. I was with my buddy Dale. And like I said, she would always jump in his truck with his girlfriend because they were friends. Dale was like a year younger than me, but we went to school together. And I would go out with him, to do work and stuff like that. Yeah, his dad had a farm and ran, dump trucks, so he had a lot of work. And sometimes when things get slow, or if I needed some extra cash, I'd go do a side job or go work on the farm or work on a dump truck, clean them up, whatever. Shine the rims, whatever you need. It's what I try to tell people. It's what I do. I go around and I help people. I help people assemble stuff. I help people build whatever they need to build. I help people, install anything they need to install. If there's little things around the house that need fixed, like a leaky toilet or a leaky faucet or something like that, I fix it. I've been doing that stuff since I was a kid. Might as well help people with it. Well, if you all could speak to her uncle Charlie, Charlie would tell you, I've never done anything wrong to this man. Never. He has purely done all this stuff off of what he has been told. Sean, when you came up there, buddy, I was respectful to you too. And no, it wasn't because I was scared of you. It was because you were nice and polite with me. You weren't an asshole. Trust me, if you didn't have that temperament to you and talked to me with respect like you did, we would have had a problem. And yeah, she called you up there on a lie. You seen as well as anybody else did. She was fine. She was just upset because she had got me fired from my job. And I told her I was done. She wouldn't let me leave, and she wouldn't leave. That's why she called you. Sean, me and her dated for a little over 2 years. She lied about pregnancy. She did some things sexually the first night that I took her to the pool party. She lied before the pool party about things she didn't have to. And I wish I knew who that cashier was that she was working with that day because, boy, would I love her to talk to me right now. I can't even remember the girl's name. This is insane. And I'm not going to stand for it. I'm going to fight it tooth and nail. Y'all can keep coming at me sideways. You all can keep coming at me with all these false allegations. I will fight every damn one of them. I did not abuse any one of my children. Not physically, not sexually, not verbally, not at all. My kids only felt safe with me. My daughter Jasmine, when she was in my home, she was always happy and bouncy. The only time that she wasn't, I questioned Tiffany. And I found out exactly what I needed to find out, and I put a stop to it. This is just insane. The one that did all the work, the one that was the good parent, they don't want all their dirt out. And I've already put it all out there. I don't care. It's going out, and I'll continue to say it. I have every right to express what's happened to me and my children. And no, it does not have to line up with what you say unless it is the truth. And what they are saying is nowhere near the truth. I was raised by an old fashioned feminist as well, and I was taught that we are equal. I was also taught that you don't hit women, you wrap them up and put them down. If you cannot do that, then fair is fair. One other thing, anytime I've gotten into a fight with anybody, I have never been the one to swing first. It has always been them. I have always waited to be assaulted before I would retaliate. I have never hit somebody first unless I was in a street fight. And I'm talking about a street fight that was organized in a trailer park because you know what's happening. It's a fight, and there's no way you're getting out of it. That's different. I know that a person across from me has every intent to fight, and that's what they're going to do because that's why they're in the circle. Those ones, I did not wait for them to swing all the time. A lot of times, I was the first one because that's how you do capitalize on those types of fights. Now, with a female, no. I've been attacked by plenty of females. I've never hit them. I've wrapped them up, I've laughed at them. That's not true. I did smack Tiff once because she punched me in my face multiple times. And it wasn't like a whap, it was like a dunk to the back of the head. Like, what the fuck are you doing? It wasn't even the back of the head, it was like the top of the head. And it wasn't even any force behind it. It ain't no different than when a wife gets mad at her husband, gives him a tap on the back of the head because he upset her. I'm sorry. Yeah, that's the extent of what it was. Now, had she attacked me and beat me for coming home from work when she expected me at a certain time when she knew I couldn't make it at that time? We're talking on the phone. You know damn well where I'm at. And that was the something new that I wasn't familiar with was somebody talking sweet to you all day on your phone, right? Then when you get home, it's like somebody just released a monster. Nowhere even close to how the text messages were all day long. Come to find out, she was only doing that so she can keep an eye on where I'm at. Yeah, you know that thing where if you're getting accused and all this, and you're really not doing something, you need to check your partner. Well, sometimes they do it this way, all nice and sweet, disarming, acting like they're just being a sweet girlfriend. Yeah, they lied, said they were in healthy relationships when they're not. They lied about just about everything. They're so fucking lazy. They've never worked this much in their life. I don't know about one of them, but I know the other one. The only reason why she was working is because she was trying to manipulate. Yeah, she was even manipulating the people at her work so she could get advances. She was even flirting with the area manager or district manager. Yeah, when the funeral and all that was going on for our kids' She invited him as a guest, and he's handing her all kinds of money, saying, "Oh, we can get you more. We can get you more. We can get you more." Then when she walks away, he smacks me on the chest and says, "It ain't my money. It's the business, but she'll like it." I had him removed. Sit there and talk and act like that after our kids are in a box. We are getting ready to say our final goodbyes to our children, and you want to sit here and act like that? Fuck out of here. Made me believe that, you know, she she was in a terrible way and something really bad happened that was out of her control, and that is what I thought at first when I first got the call. If you think I wasn't putting together that my son had just texted me all pissed off about something he shouldn't have known, and the only person that didn't know was his mother, literally just before the accident happened. Incident, by the way. And I did do a reenactment of it because the cops are trying to keep it from me. There you go. So if everything was the way they said it was, why would they try and keep it from me? Right? Because they know it's not. Oh, I know why it's going that way. Yeah. State's attorney got mad because I wanted to record our conversation. Yeah. For some reason, recording encounters with them, they don't like. She was also sleeping with my stepdad's grandson, which their family is the sheriff's office. They are the courts. They have a lot of pull, a lot of pull. Have I ever asked them for any type of favors? No. My nephew used to run around this town drunk every night, selling and doing drugs, would never get in trouble because of them. Now, this is another one, Brian, because he stole stuff out of my house, and I told him I was going to press charges. I never did. I should have. He started threatening to shoot up my house and my kids and all this stuff. And pretty funny, he was the one that manipulated Tiffany into going to her mother's after me and Tiff split up. Even though he was at her mother's talking to her and working on a game plan before he ever tried to get Tiffany to go there. Yeah. He's a sociopath. See, when he wants something done, he'll manipulate other people into doing it. And it's not hard to get them to say yes to a money scheme because they will. Yes, I was trying to change her from that. Yes, I was trying to give her a better life. Is that what she got mad about? Yes. She tried to fake love bomb into a relationship, and when it was found out, she would get an attitude because light was being shined on her bullshit. Yep, I was trying to do the old fashioned thing. No matter what they did, I was going to try and make it work. This is why you can never be honest with a woman. Because once you start telling them that, they have no fucking line. They will thrash the fuck out of you. You ever think that they're going to mind their P's and Q's or work at the relationship as hard as you? You have, that's like a shot in the dark, man. At least from my experiences. But I was so much of an abuser and a cheater, but we ended up renting off of my ex girlfriend. And Tiffany tried to start something there. She tried to tell my ex girlfriend's mom that I was abusive and all this other stuff. And her mom was asking her, well, okay, well, where's the marks? You know, this, that, and the other. And I'm at work, okay? I have no clue this is going on. We are not fighting. There's no reason for her to be coming up with stories, okay? We rent an apartment off of them. They can hear everything that goes on. We never fought. So, but anyway, I get home, I come down, and they're all just looking at me. And I'm like, what? And Donna's like, are you abusing this girl? Because that's just how Donna is. And I told Donna, no. Why? And for some reason, they never explained why, because Yvonne cut in and she said, well, I was telling them about the time that I slapped you for getting home from work late, and my mom thought you had hit me and come in there yelling at you. I was 15, by the way, and living on my own, paying to rent a room from her dad. But anyway, um, yeah, her mom come in there and she heard the smack and thought that I had hit Yvonne. And when she come in the room, that wasn't the case. It was a misunderstanding, and yeah, Yvonne did slap me. But Yvonne's mom was the one that tried to say, well, didn't David slap you one night when he came home? And that's when Yvonne said no. He has never hit me. Kim, a girl I dated for a little while, never hit her either, even though she was lying blatantly to my face. And that was another one that I didn't want to date because it was just too much bull. It was one of Yvonne's friends, well, kind of. Her sister, her older sister, was friends with Yvonne, and we went to school together. And her older sister apparently tried to ask me out through Yvonne, and Yvonne asked me out instead of asking me out for her, which turned into this girl being all mad at me, even though I never knew this girl said anything. And I didn't find out until that she even wanted to date me until I went to her birthday party at a roller rink with Yvonne, and I'm already dating Yvonne. And she comes up and she's like, "Did Yvonne ask you?" I said, "What do you mean? What are you talking about?" And she's like, "Didn't Yvonne ask you to go out with me?" And I said, "No. Yvonne asked me out for herself. Why? Was she supposed to ask me out for you?" And the girl didn't say nothing. She just went off into the bathroom. And I'm like, okay. Seriously, I had no fucking clue. I got a call from Yvonne one day, and my brother was sitting on my mom's bed. You know, we have a corded phone back in her room. I answered it, and it was Yvonne. She was, asking if I wanted to come over and hang out. And I was like, yeah, probably in a little bit. And she asked me if she could ask me a question. I said, sure. She said, would you like to go, out with me? And I said, yeah, why not? Should be fun. Well, apparently she was calling me that day for her friend Gail and never told me anything about it. Of course, Gail does not believe that, which, whatever. I don't know what to tell you. But Gail made a mistake by going and dating my brother. Then shortly after that, lying to me about my girlfriend Yvonne up in her attic with a dude named Dustin. I was working. I only get sometimes Saturdays off. Not very often. Most of the time it's just Sunday. But I got off early on a Saturday, which barely ever happens. And Yvonne told me that she wanted me to come and hang out with her and Gail at Gail's house. So I said, okay, I'll come hang out. So I went. I was getting my permit or my driver's license at the time and all that. So I drove my aunt's van with my aunt in it because I had my permit at the time. Got dropped off at Gail's and my aunt left. Well, my girlfriend, I know she's upstairs with this dude, and they tried to lie to me and say that she wasn't there and all this other stuff. And how that happened, same way. Yvonne said she was bored, wanted to get a job. I said, cool. Where you going to work? And she said, at the hardware store. And I said, okay, cool. She got a job, never questioned it, anything. She said she had a friend named Dustin. They get along pretty good. I was like, cool, that's awesome. Come to find out, he's a Marine, broke his ankle jumping out of the helicopter, and supposedly got a dishonorable discharge from that. Doesn't sound like you'd get dishonorable discharge from that. But anyway, I found all that out afterwards. But yeah, she was sleeping with another dude and my brother. I don't know what is up with these women doing that shit, but then me and Yvonne, I went to her house. I beat up my brother. Then me and her had a talk at the end of her driveway. And she tries to tell me that there wasn't anything wrong with me, that she's just young. And I said all that to you when we were dating. And this is what you said you wanted. This is what I'm doing. Working on what you said you wanted. And she cut the conversation short. That was the end of it. I went home. My brother stayed with her. I went back to work. No fight, no fuss. And I did beat up my brother, though. Yes, I did. But did I touch Siobhan? No. Sorry, Yvonne, if that's throwing you under the bus. It's not. You did this. This is how it went down. These people think a lot of shit because of females running their mouth. So, sorry, but I'm telling everything. Yeah, I saved that girl's life. I did. Multiple times. It's all right, you know. At least you're still breathing. Now, she didn't have the balls to tell me to my face, but she also wasn't rude, tried to attack me, acted like I was an abusive person, all because they wanted to cover up, or all because she wanted to cover up what she was doing. She admitted to it, she apologized, and talked to me like I was a human, not like I was a dog. I was always very nice to girls. I was actually better friends with girls than I was dudes. I don't know why. the way it worked out. Do I want to beat up women? No. Will I defend myself against a woman attacking me? Yes. Will I try to hurt her? No. Like I said, I will only go to physical violence with a female if I necessarily have to. If there is any way around it, that's what I'm doing. Wait until my niece hears this. Ooh, 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 ooh. You think my sister's bad? Y'all haven't even got to meet my niece yet. Oh, don't worry. She knows. And she is not fucking happy. I'll tell you that right now. Uh, I would just like to know when women become the biggest monsters on the planet and supposedly untouchable for what they do. You realize this is why they continue doing what they're doing, right? They have no line. I mean, courts and kids are set up for the woman to win and make money for sitting at home taking care of her kid. It's insane. And then we catch all the blame, and other people don't understand that your government's waiting to rip your family apart. Y'all don't even understand that sending your kid to school, they just made it illegal for you to raise your kid. Yep, whatever they think goes. So it doesn't matter if you're poor or if you don't believe in, having an extravagant lifestyle, which I didn't. And look at all these families with big extravagant lifestyles. Yeah, nothing but problems. People always trying to rob you or become your friend so they can take stuff from you. I always thought staying away from money was a good thing. A lot of money. Of course, you got to have some money to live this freaking bullcrap life. Yeah, my daughter Jasmine thinks she gets her worth ethic from someone other than her dad. She's got spots where she's lazy and stuff like that. I think that's the other side kicking in, if you know what I mean. I mean, shit. Every time we were in money problems was because of them. going behind my back, stealing, doing drugs, doing alcohol, not working when they said they were. They were never really forced to have a job, but I did try to suggest it as much as possible. Are you kidding me? I had a lot of people blaming me for Tiffany always supposedly being what they called barefoot and pregnant all the time. Uh, that's what she went for. Literally, she was ready to have another kid right after she had birth, just given birth to David. And I'm telling you, it was 3 days after. I'm taking care of her, and she is trying everything she can, and I'm like, dude, no. And she got mad at me because I wouldn't. And I'm like, you need to heal. Are you kidding me? And she, oh, well, I didn't get stitched, so I'll be fine. What? No. Yeah. After that, um, I was diagnosed with prostate cancer, and I had a vasectomy done when I had a growth removed. And she got mad at me. And she was like, well, is it final? And I said, no. I got to go back in 3 months and then in a year to make sure it took. And she was on her knees crying and begging for us to have another child. And I'm like, why? I'm like, you run off, you do things, you destroy our family. Why should I have another child with you? Now, of course, I get the promise pledge. I mean, I don't see why this is so hard for people to understand. I've watched women date guys that were like that. They were addicts and they would cheat and they loved them to death and would keep going back to them. This isn't the guy this time. This is the female, and it was fucking like six of them back to back. Well, why would they do that? Well, they all said that they felt abandoned when I would go to work. You're not abandoned. I got to go to work. Now, I don't know if that in some fucking crazy way that's really how they felt. Okay, but really all this crazy shit all because supposedly you felt abandoned even though you weren't. I'm just at work. They were very flirtatious. They were very promiscuous. They just like the fucking internet says that they want you to promise all this stuff and all this crap, but as soon as you do, they're out there doing exactly what they just got you to promise that you were never going to do. And they make up excuses for it. Well, you weren't home. You didn't give me enough attention, which that was a fucking lie. They could never use that. They had all my attention. I wasn't the type to go out and drink all our money away. I wasn't the type to go out and spend all our money on anything like that. I got my paycheck. I come straight home. I split it with my partner. Yeah, everybody told me I was stupid for that. If they would have acted right, I wouldn't have been stupid for that. I also probably would have never been in all the other relationships I was in. But every time I would come back and talk to, my family about what the fuck happened, of course I got the feminist speech. That's all I was ever told. You made your bed, now you gotta lie in it. And I said, okay, I understand that. That's what I'm getting at. How the fuck am I supposed to lie in a bed that I didn't mess up? I don't get that. And for some reason, people want men to just accept bullshit. And no, you tell me something that I fucking did factually and show me that it messed up this, this, and this, I'll fix all of it. If you can show me that. If you can't, and you can't, produce the fucking evidence, all you can do is talk out your ass, and I see that it's because of something else that has nothing to do with me, I'm going to bring that up because we're searching for a problem here, and we need to figure out where the problem is. I'm not going to sit there and say I'm the problem when I know I'm not. The problem was they were lazy. They wanted what they wanted. They didn't want to answer for any consequences. They didn't want any accountability. They wanted to put it all on me. As the same thing is going on right now. That is why my daughter Jasmine is so screwed up. That is why my son David is so screwed up. Imagine that. Both of them. All screwed up. And it looks like there's two parents in the fucking household. And the one parent they've been with a lot. I mean, what the fuck? I mean, I had Phil Clash's aunt call me up to her house asking me about a picture that it was after Jen had finally gotten custody of Jazz back, even though she wasn't fighting for it before. She wasn't. She was barely fighting for anything. That's why she didn't win. It's all stated right there in court record. You can fucking get it. You think I'm going to pay for all that and put it out? No, I'm not. I got enough things I got to pay for. And whew, I got to live without three of my children that loved me dearly, that told everybody how great their dad was. And now all of a sudden that's just erased because some girl got pissed off for being caught cheating. And nobody wants to believe that that's why. Even though they all go psycho when they're caught doing things wrong. How many videos are out there of them flipping out? We have one girl smacking herself in the face with a hammer and her friend saying, do it again, do it again. Y'all know what they're doing. They're putting bruises on themselves so they can call a cop and say that their boyfriend did it. I'm telling you, this is the games they play, and they deliberately try and cause bad things to happen through other people. That is BPD and sociopath. Sociopath is worse than a psychopath because of that. This is also why the CIA recruits them because they're very good at doing things like this. They're very good at talking somebody else into a conflict, even when there isn't any. So I'm really getting tired of these freaking females with these colored hair coming in. Well, they said this, they said that, they just did. The paper I showed was what the CPS was trying to push for. That's just their mission statement before the court starts. That's not what the judge ruled. That's what they were trying to say, which wasn't true. Even though my son stated right in his own thing that, and they tried to use that saying that, us giving him discipline was, us abusing him when he was never smacked. He was, even though smacking a child is not abuse. Leaving marks and, trying to totally destroy your child with a whooping they need. Now that is abuse. I've never done that. Even when my son tried to drown my daughter, even when, yeah, this is all the crazy shit he was doing after CPS supposedly knew what was best for him. Pretty funny, he wasn't doing that shit before. He was just lying about a toy. And why? Because they offered to give it to him, which strummed up him thinking, okay. And I'm serious. I don't even know if that's what he said. That's just what they said he said. We weren't there. They questioned our kids without us around, without an attorney. We didn't even know. Well, I didn't know what was going on. I believe Tiffany did. I didn't know what was going on until after she had showed me a report from the school. And I'm like, why are they going to school talking to our children? They could have came here to talk to us. And that's when we made it illegal for them to go to school and talk to our children without our lawyer present. After that, they got mad. Well, you're over there manipulating our kids with popsicles, movie tickets, and freaking toys. God knows what you're trying to get them to say. And how come you bribed Kirsten and Talon and said that they didn't say anything? What do you mean they didn't say anything? One kid saying he's being abused, which you never said he was being abused. He never said it. All he said was is that he wanted a Lego toy. Nothing about abuse was ever mentioned. Only from CPS. They believed abuse was going on because he was acting that way. And they would have been right. Not about their dad. It was Tiffany trying to get David to strum up problems so she could take the land that we had just bought. Now, it wasn't a lot of land, but it was basically a place for $650 a year and whatever utilities cost. That's it. So, this was after I wouldn't marry her. We moved out of Cedar Hill because she got us kicked out. She wasn't paying the electric bill, even though she gets a utility check that she wouldn't stop using. She didn't use any of that. She didn't use any of the money that I gave her, even though she got half my check as soon as I came home on payday. Every payday like clockwork. And I would ask her, and we would goof off back and forth about it because she was the one handling the bills in the house. I was the one, handling everything else. Just making sure they were sent out, make sure we knew how much they were, blah, blah, blah. Which I didn't know that that's a feminist tactic. This is also after this girl hid an admissions paper, got my registration suspended. I didn't know it was suspended. I'm working so much, I completely forgot about the whole damn thing. I get caught driving on tags 3 years later, 4 years later. Apparently, everything has been suspended since 6 months after I got it inspected and the tags on it. Did not know that. We were living at an apartment in Joppatown. I sent Tiff out with the vehicle a couple of times to get a P.O. box because I work from butt crack dawn in the morning to dark as hell at night. I'm normally not getting home until about 1 or 2 in the morning. So I don't have time to go and set that up. So she promised that she would go set it up. She never did. Landlord was a sweet old man. There were rules at this apartment because it was basically like a bachelor pad, and there was a tenant underneath that lived in a separate apartment that had been there 10 years, and he was a very good tenant. Never had a problem, so he kind of had seniority over. And the only rule he had was, keep it down in between 9 and 4 because I get up early, which, understandable there. But no, she decided to go against all that. She deliberately got David out of his schedule, deliberately did this because she knew one of the rules was it had to be quiet in between 9 and 4, so she went against that deliberately. Why? Because she wanted everything in her name, and I just didn't realize that that's what she was doing. She wanted the car in her name by her doing that and making a big ass bill that we had no way of paying at the time, or the kids, the house, us would suffer completely because there's no way we could have paid that at that time. And they weren't wanting payments, they were wanting $5,000 to fix it all. And she suggested put it in my name and you can drive it, blah, blah, blah. And of course, I fell for it. Should have never done that. Yeah, when somebody comes up to you, hugging you, putting their head on your chest with sincerity in their eyes, and I'm sorry, I didn't know that. My bad. I should have said something. Here's what we can do. Yeah, she was inching me into taking over everything. Yeah. This is the same one that wouldn't leave me the fuck alone until I suggested dating her for months. I mean, this chick was on me for months. Oh my gosh, man. And what's really funny is she tried to come at me with two of her friends, and it was right around the time that a lot of other stuff was going on. And I had a girlfriend at the time that, I ran into my buddy Tony with my buddy Dale, found out where he was staying. He invited me to come see his crib and, see what he'd been up to. And I didn't know anything about this girl until I got there. It was his sister. I've known her when they were younger because I went to school with her brother. I didn't know much about her because I didn't really see much of her. And I found out why. She was in and out of freaking mental homes. That's why. I went to a mental home one time. I was there for 2 months and was released. Released with a great rap sheet. Great. No trouble. Didn't do anything wrong. Nothing. Why was I put in there? I got jumped on a third grade playground by four dudes because they were jealous because the girls had come over and asked me to go play with them. And I said, okay. My mistake was trying to be nice to the other dudes because, of course, my ADHD, I just said, okay, and started running off with them. And I was like, whoa, wait a minute. So I went back to my dudes that I was playing with and said, hey, you guys want to come play too? And they got mad and they surrounded me and they tried to fight me. And I beat all four of them up. And yeah, the teacher Didn't see none of the fight. All she saw when she turned around is three kids completely hurt and me beating up the fourth one. So to her, I just attacked four students. And when she ran up to us, that's exactly what she said. Why are you attacking them? So they go and tell the principal that that's what I did. I attacked them. I didn't. They tried to attack me and it failed. Miserably, by the way. Well, I come from the projects. Every day going on the bus was nothing but a freaking fight fest because we were white kids and we didn't belong there. I don't know, that's just what they were saying. Every day. Pre Pre-K up through kindergarten. Well, halfway through kindergarten. And we ended up going to Rising Sun for a little while and then back to Harper County. For a little while. And we moved from there. But anyway, I don't know how else to prove all this. I don't have everything. I don't have everything on video. And the people that were witnesses to nothing happening are not really happy with me because of the stuff I know about what they did to our kids. So it's a mess, and it's a big tangled fucking mess. But I assure every one of you, I didn't do this. I never stalked them. I never did anything like that. I mean, this is insane. How people can do this much bad shit, nobody notices. You have to press charges. Yeah, with a bunch of F boys that don't even do their job. Y'all just don't understand. The government is not what you think it is. And these women swear by it. Of course you do. You're kissing their ass, and you know that they're the ones that give you your way. So no wonder you swear by them. They don't listen. When you have evidence, that a lot of times they won't even let you show it. If you're a guy, if you're a girl, most of the time you get to show whatever the hell you want. And apparently, you don't have to prove dates, times, this, that, and the other. I understand burden of proof, but that's not burden of proof. Yes, I understand how they work. It is a manipulator's freaking heaven. Yeah, I pissed a lot of people off up there because they're not doing their job. And I have no problem telling somebody they are not doing their job. And because you got all these fucking addicts out here trying to pull this, you know, street hood rat bullshit and manipulate and get out of shit, apparently everybody's a liar. Right. Except for women. Yeah. The biggest fucking liars on the planet. But nope, they don't lie. I'm getting sick and fucking tired of it. I've already stayed single. I dated two chicks named Sam. Things started going the same exact fucking way. Yep, being chivalrous, opening the door, paying for dates, don't even want to be in the fucking date, just women keep bugging me, and it always turns out the fucking same. They are always about them, they don't give a fuck about you. fuck you. All they want you to do is be their little toolbox and give them money. No. I mean, seriously, what the fuck has happened to people? You got people out here giving hours of their fucking life for you. And this is what you do? I don't give a shit if you're a guy or a girl doing this kind of shit that I'm talking about. Because I know there's males out there that do it too. I don't know if they learned it from this or whatever possessed them to do that. Probably because they seen these women winning all the time, so they're like, hell, why not? And that's one of the tests of the end times. A lot of bad things people are going to get away with. And it's your test. And it's basically saying, yep, here's all the stuff. And you can do it and get away with it. And you have a free will choice. Do it or don't. And these women, every fucking time, yo, don't gotta tell me twice. Misogyny, get the fuck out of here. It's not misogyny or racist or this or that if it's fucking true. Y'all can take that shit and shove it up your ass. That is another fucking manipulative tactic from a fucking feminist. These ones run around calling for the death of men, saying that they didn't need men, saying that men could be in their sport because they were just as tough as men, and then voila, the same typical shit from a fucking female that thinks this way happens. Now you have women being praised and men being nailed again, even though these weren't men to begin with. The real men told you all this is going to be disastrous. We were told to shut up. Then, when it all blew up in their face, it's not their fault for doing it and pushing for it. It's the men's fault because we didn't let them win. What? That right there is what I call daddy and pop up syndrome. See, they get so used to being the favorite of one of them in their family. You know, either the father, the grandfather, or an uncle, or sometimes all of them. And they start to develop this sociopathic mindset that all they got to do is lie. They're not held accountable for nothing. Even when they get caught, they don't even get the same punishment that men do. They get a little slap on the wrist, all because they cry or they throw a fit. And if these people think I won't go get the money to go buy all this expensive shit and throw it in their face, they are sadly mistaken. I will work myself to the bone just to get every bit of that. I will lay out your whole past. I told you all not to be fucking with me. I told you all I'm not the one to fuck with. I've been running my mouth in defense towards the ones that are attacking me without using logic or a brain. But whatever. All my videos are right there. My kids are not abused. They are very happy with their dad every time they're with me. The only picture that they look upset is when they're with their mother and their nana. Well, there's a lot of pictures where they don't seem upset. Yes, because around their mother, Nolan would act goofy like a clown because he knew it would make his mom laugh and smile. It was his way of trying to make her happy. But if you were around to see how, you know, he would give her problems, but he wouldn't give me problems. He wouldn't. I tell him to stop, he stops. I tell him you gotta do it this way, he does it that way. She does that, doesn't work that way. And she also made it a point to put all kinds of fishing posts on Facebook, even put up the greatest Christmas ever, literally maybe a month before she got caught cheating. And right before our, yeah, her birthday, which Christmas she was happy, everything was great. 3 days later, all of a sudden, supposedly she doesn't know where she stands. You know why she said that? Because me and a girl that I knew from school, Danielle, was talking on Facebook. And mind you, this girl can see everything we're saying. We're not hitting on each other, nothing like that. And this was after Tiffany was caught, and I had broken things off, told her she could stay here. So technically, we weren't even together. Not in that sense. I was just making sure they had a safe place to be. And why did she agree to stay for 4 months? Because June, from February to June. But I'm so abusive. She could have left and went to her mother's at any time. But I'm so abusive. Yeah, right. I have trauma from these types of things, from a young kid, from other relationships. I never used it on my ex, or I never used it on my previous girlfriend from what my ex did. I did tell them what they did, which that was probably a mistake, because it looks like they were just like, haha, map. Yeah, I had a weird, crazy ass story with my first girlfriend that I had a child with, which was Bethany. And I've shared that story as well. I mean, everybody thinks I'm responsible for what these people do. No, I'm not. Are these women responsible for when they give men a great relationship, never cheat on them, give them a marriage, kids, they go out, end up drinking and cheating, or coming home pissed off and beating them up for no reason, huh? And they end up staying with them. No, they're called strong. They're called you shouldn't have had to deal with that. No, but apparently, if a guy has that story, oh, he's playing victim, he's lying. Yeah, I bet all the feminists want that to be true, don't they? Ain't my fault y'all picked fuckboys. Oh wait, that's what you try to get. Either that or somebody that you can manipulate. I had a traumatic brain injury when I was little. Head traumas, getting blown up. Yes. Now mine's milder than some other people's. Other people's they have no breaks at all. But as soon as these women find that out, they use it to their advantage. They will construct things to start arguments. They will construct things to make my face go, what the fuck? Oh, all of a sudden I'm so angry, all because my eyebrows are looking at you like, what the fuck is this? Oh yeah, that means I'm so angry and psychotic. All that's so abusive to make you answer for what the hell you're doing. Imagine that. You must pay forever for shining light on my bullshit. What the fuck? Fuck out of here. Take your little demon possessed ass on somewhere else. You're not winning.